can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
All right, hey, how we doing out there tonight all across this great land of ours and around the world? It is that time. It's time for the Conservative Syndicate once again, coming to you live coast to coast and around the world, where it's prime time, sometime, all the time, someplace. We're glad to have you with us today, and we have another hefty schedule for you, another list of things we're going to do today, and we hope you're ready to go, ready to learn, ready to be informed, and ready to engage. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. Let me get Joe on here right away. How you doing today, Joe?
Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion.
No, she doesn't. No, don't listen to her. She doesn't want to be your champion. She wants to rip you off, kill you, and everything else. She doesn't care a damn thing about you because you're just deplorable and unredeemable. Yeah, she loves you so much and be a champion, my butt.
Yeah, we want to give a special Clinton shout-out to all of you down there in the Confederacy that know that each and every year the Miss America contest is rigged. So
yeah.
I am sick and tired.
Yeah, I know she's sick and tired, and so am I. It's time to drain the swamp.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I know. You know, truer words have not been spoken. We are coming to that place where it's just like, oh man, I get up in the morning now and I'm like, what kind of trash are we going to be dealt today? You know, it's like, what's the latest scam the media is going to perpetuate upon us to convince us that somebody who likes women and 11 years ago talked. You know, let me put this in proper context. You know, I don't doubt. I even said, I think when this thing first broke, I even made mention that, you know, I'm sure Don has his groupies. You know, I'm sure that guy's out there floating around the country over the 40 years he's been out there, and the more money he's accumulated, I'm sure he's got groupies. You know, I'm sure he's tapped the well a few times. Let's be realistic.
Hey, okay. John.
Yeah.
John, the guy's a billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You know, I mean, look at his wife. Gorgeous woman. You know, a guy that ugly isn't going to get a woman that beautiful. You know, I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. You know, it isn't his personality that attracts these women. I'm sure it's not even the size of his hands, you know. So it's just that the idea that, this is such a sudden shock. And it's like, oh, my God, you mean in the 40 years it's taken him to become a billionaire? This guy, I mean, he's been married for 3 times, for crying out loud. You know, I've been married for 3 times. I can tell you, in my heyday, I had my day when I had more women than I cared to shake a stick at, if I can put it that way. And, and so I get that. You know, I get that. But, so what? You know, at this point in time, you people out there that are so worried about morality, where the hell were you back when Bill Clinton was running for office? You know, where were you when he was being? Yeah, where were you when he was being impeached for sexual immorality, and he still had high favorability ratings? I mean,
really?
Come on,
come on! Really, this is really Donald Trump said something. Is it illegal? Did he commit a crime?
I don't even care if he did anything.
I don't care either. That's the whole point. Is I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
He didn't commit a crime. We know Hillary Clinton has committed a crime. She's nothing but cheat and lie and steal her way into the position she's at right now, and she could almost she could taste the presidency of the United States right now.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the media helping her ass along, she wouldn't be there. Because if I'm telling you what, if they would do their job as they're supposed to, Hillary Clinton would not be the nominee for the Democratic Party.
No, she wouldn't. And if the Democrats had not perfected this tactic, I mean, this thing is so recycled. So recycled. You know, I was thinking the other day, remember back in the day, this is back in the 70s, I believe, Gary Hart was a candidate for the Democrat Party. And I forget who he was running against. It was back in the 70s. And it might have been Jimmy Carter. Might have been during that time, or McGovern, back in that day when McGovern or Dukakis or somebody like that was running. And they were the perennial favorite of the party. They were the Jeb Bush of the Democrat Party at that time. And Gary Hart comes out with this kind of a little bit of a skewed campaign, a little bit of a mixture of Ross Perot and that kind of stuff. And lo and behold, the scandal. He's got a girlfriend. They got a picture of him out in a yacht somewhere. It destroys his candidacy. And then I'm thinking just recently, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who gets what he deserves, and has a love child out there, by the way, was messing around with his maid. But the point being is that every single election cycle, you can always tell when the Democrats are desperate. It's because something like this comes up. I didn't expect them to come up with sexual allegations against Donald Trump, but I expected everything else to come up. Because I figured if the sexual allegations were going to come up, they would have come up in a primary. I thought somebody in the primary would have, Jeb Bush or somebody like that would have thrown it out there.
Let's understand something, John. The Democrat Party wanted. They think Donald Trump was the guy, so they weren't going to do anything to harm him in a primary. They weren't going to do that because they were really hoping that somebody else would be there because it'd be more of the Bush thing to go on, or even a Kasich thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Well, I just thought because
we knew darn well that they were going to come after him in the general election. We knew it.
Yeah, I just thought because of the fact that anybody with the IQ of seaweed can look at somebody like Donald Trump and figure out. I mean, the guy's hanging around Miss America for 40 years. I knew this from the outgo. He's had his time. He's sowed some oats out there. I'm sure he has, and I'm sure after this thing is over, he may continue to. I don't know, but
whatever.
But compare that to a sitting president who was doing this stuff
in the White House, lying about it.
Yeah,
and that's
in the White House.
Yes.
While in office, while on duty, that kind of stuff. But I didn't expect this to come out on him. I expected just about everything else to come out one way or the other. But and
the woman's name you were looking for was Donna Rice for Mr. Gary Hart.
Yeah. Well, I kept thinking. I remember a while back. Apparently, he made some comment about his daughter Ivanka. And I thought, sooner or later, somebody's going to take that and spin it that this guy's incestuous, that kind of stuff. But it just, come on, America. I mean, you guys are out there celebrating Beyonce and people like this, Lady Gaga walking on stage strapped in steaks and meat, and and this upsets you.
Yeah, it doesn't upset him. This is so much crap and distraction. It's ridiculous. With all yesterday and today with the voter fraud that's coming out, I mean, this is just sickening what this Democrat Party's doing. I mean, these people, they need to go to jail.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. This. You're talking about this? The latest coming out with the FBI.
No, I'm just talking about the James O'Keefe, the Project Veritas thing where, oh my goodness, the undercover videos. Gee, I mean, this is ridiculous. You can't take these out of context.
No.
It's like the selling of body parts, infant body parts of our, the same people Hillary Clinton supports, the Planned Parenthood people, for crying out loud. I mean, this. And they're offended by dirty words from Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Oh my, really?
Well, today, just we got to close this topic up here because we're coming up a break. But I just today, Billy Bush, the co-conspirator with Donald Trump, back whenever he made these comments 11 years ago, has left NBC. I guess he was a co-host over at NBC. I don't know. I don't watch NBC, but he was a co-host over on the Today Show, and he's announced his resignation from the company. And the guy is sorry. You know, he said his answers. His statement I thought was pretty relevant. Hey, that was 11 years ago. I was a lot younger. I was very immature. You know, it was a cool thing. And he's crying all the way to the bank because they've given him a $10 million separation pay. Like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Hey, send me another girl. I could use another 10 mil. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm so sorry. Oops.
Anyway, guys, we got to go to a break here. We got Audrey Russo coming on with us the second hour. Today we're going to breach the topic of voter fraud. This is something the left is crying about right now, which means they're scared of losing it. When they start out there in mass talking points, and then the right joins with them, or not the right, but the Republican Party leadership jump on board, and something's up when in mass and the Democrats start lining up to defend something. You know they're guilty of it. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. 866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. All right, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we're going to start our day today. I know what I have to start the day with. I just got to mention this. I know sometimes I have a habit of doing this, but I just have to do this. You know, yesterday we talked about Target out there in the forefront, leading the charge against scary clown masks. And you know how important it is. Okay, guess what? Somebody sent this to me today on Facebook, and I thought it was worth mentioning because the person that sent it to me is a blue bleeding liberal Democrat, apolitical atheist. Okay, and he sent me this article: University of Florida, down in your neck of the woods, there, Joe, offers counseling for students offended by Halloween costumes. All right. University of Florida offers counseling for students offended by Halloween costumes. Halloween can be scary, but can it also be offensive? The University of Florida wants students to know that counseling is available for students hoping to work past any offense taken from Halloween costumes. Some Halloween costumes reinforce stereotypes of particular races, genders, cultures, or religions. Regardless of intent, these costumes can perpetuate negative stereotypes, causing harm and offense to groups of people. If you are troubled by an incident that does occur, please know that there are many resources available. By the way, if you choose to participate in Halloween activities, we encourage you to think about your choices of costumes and themes, but have a fun and safe Halloween. There you go. All right, safe spaces for the paranoid that can't seem to deal with Halloween. You know, we ought to just do away with that holiday. We really should.
That's okay with me. But you know what I really think?
I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Exactly. I'm right there with you, man. I just thought, you know, so we were talking yesterday about the scary clown masks and about how that's going to upset the world. And just be assured that universities probably all over America are assigning safe spaces for people who get freaked out about Halloween costumes, especially if you happen to be stereotyped. Okay.
Oh, you precious little snowflakes. Don't go look at Hillary Clinton's running mate because he is a clown face.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there thinking I need to notify Notre Dame, and I need to tell them that I find the fighting leprechaun offensive. Okay? I can't stand it anymore. I just can't stand it anymore. Okay?
Oh, my God. Oh, this is just ridiculous crap.
I know, isn't it? And this is what happens. This is what anarchy looks like, guys. The only thing that's left is that we have vigilante groups patrolling the streets, wiping out anything that anybody's offended by. Okay?
I mean, come on.
Really? It is.
I mean, come on. I'm afraid of this. This is stuff. These are supposed to be people getting ready to come out and be productive members of society, and they're acting like they're 3-year-olds scared of the monsters under your bed.
Oh yeah. You know, I will say, I just was thinking about this. The last time I attended a costume party, and this was, oh God, it was a long time ago. It had to be 25 years ago at least. I went to a party. My youngest brother, was holding a party. He just came back from Desert Storm, or from being stationed over there, and so he was having a reunion kind of thing, and what happened to fall on Halloween. So he said, "Okay, let's have a Halloween party," and I did what I wonder if God put this down on my ledger of bad things. I went dressed as a priest with a big bottle of whiskey in one hand and a big cigar in the other. And Lourdes went as a pregnant nun.
Well, at least you didn't have some little 12-year-old boy on your arm.
Well, anyway, we won the contest, so that tells you where everybody was at. Anyway, all right, let's move on here. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time with that.
We're going down a whole other path on that one.
Anyway, Clinton campaign. The big thing out there. We're seeing all the establishment types are lining up. Okay, Barack Obama today kind of tried to dress down Donald Trump once again. The notion. I love that word. He uses that word a lot. The notion that the elections are rigged and that the system is not pure. And all this that they're being floated out there by Donald Trump. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. We
Really?
have all the full confidence in the American electoral system. And, you would expect that from a guy who won on voter fraud. And then and we have the GOP minions are out there lining up. Marco Rubio today in a debate with Murphy, the guy he's running against down there in Florida.
Patrick Murphy.
No, this voter fraud's not happening. There's no evidence. There's no proof of it. We need to just quit having this conversation. Of course, he's in a debate. He doesn't want to bring any negativity towards him, so he's going to distance himself. And then Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, all standing out there saying, "No, come on, the elections are fine, everything's cool," that kind of stuff. And then you've got Nancy Pelosi lining up, Harry Reid out there lining up. When the big leaders come out and start talking about something, that they fear that whatever is being talked about might be taken to heart by the American public. So
if they ever get wind of it, if they ever get it, if enough people actually ever see these videos done by Project Veritas, James O'Keefe and his friends. If enough people ever saw these, there would be pitchforks and torches out in the streets, and the Democrats everywhere would be upset. Now, let's remember, John, yesterday, right, O'Keefe and his friends produced videos of a year-long undercover investigation by them, which produced evidence and actual factual evidence and paper trails of the DNC through Hillary Clinton's campaign fermenting violence at Donald Trump rallys.
Wow.
Okay. So, and today it was through the same group of people that voter fraud, again, documented, paper trailed, showing that there is voter fraud, massive vote on a grand scale, and they know they're doing it. They know it's wrong, and yet they are doing it. And this is from the Clinton campaign to the DNC to an organization called Democracy Partners to Mr. Foble, who offhandedly worked with Bob Kramer, who happens to be and has already gone to jail for tax evasion, by the way, and had to be in-house arrest. And then he happens to be the husband of a sitting Congresswoman, Jan Schakowsky. And then they work with somebody out of New York with the Dream Action Coalition, Mr. Cesar Vargas, who is out making sure, trying to get dreamers and illegal immigrants out voting, which they should not be voting. They're illegal. They're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be a citizen to be able to vote, if I remember right.
Yeah, and let's remember Jan Schakowsky. Okay, she's a senator from Illinois. All right, she is She is the one that helped handpick Barack Obama out of the Midway Academy to run for the Senate when Carol Brown left office. She was the one.
She's in the House of Representatives, John.
But she was the one that helped her and a couple other people. Bill Ayers was one of them, and the Chicago Machine handpicked Barack Obama.
And so Jan is full of crap. This is from Jan's own website. Jan Schakowsky has been a lifelong consumer advocate and a champion for what she sees as the disappearing middle class.
Yeah, she's also a card carrier of the American Socialist Party. And I talked about her oh, geez, years ago. I remember this woman. As soon as you mentioned the name, the light went on. This woman is one of the big power forces out there in Chicago. Unknown. See, the big forces are kind of always under the current. You know, you may recognize her name, but you don't really know anything about them. So this woman was, when Carol Brown was ousted for some time, indicted for corruption or something like that, Barack Obama was the one they picked. They said, yeah, this is the guy we need. Mr. Community Organizer. This is the guy we need. At that time, he was doing pro bono work for Midwest Academy, which he had just graduated from, by the way. So, so anyway, this whole voter fraud thing. And what we're going to do, we're going to post this video on our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, so you can find it real easy. You don't have to go through the Facebook filters and all that other crap. We'll put it out there on our website so that you can pick it up. TheConservativeSyndicate.net. We'll put it up there right after the show. I've got it over here, and we'll post it up there so you can see it. And then you mentioned something, Joe. I remember yesterday when I was channel surfing, there was a video somewhere along the line. Was it the one you were talking about where they were actually talking to the organizers that they're now saying would have been involved in this firebombing of the RNC headquarters?
It makes you come to think about, these people. They were out there inciting violence at Donald Trump rallies. They were out there. They were there to work with the Hillary Clinton campaign through the Democratic National Committee. And it makes you wonder, if they're out there doing this violence. I mean, if you remember, Donald Trump was going to go to Chicago and have that rally in Chicago. And there was so much uproar that he decided to stop and not go there because just way too much chance of people getting hurt there. Remember that one?
Yeah, that was the one. That was the one they were talking about last night. That these guys said that they had actually their plan is to through organizations, they get their money filtered down from the DNC into local organizations down into their hands. Once it gets into their hands, their organizations are kind of like dark. You don't really know who they are, but they go out. What they do is they're the ones that go out and motivate and organize the people, and then they send the people out.
Yeah, remember we were asking how in the hell that they have this thing going on that they could just show up at a moment's notice and be out there with their prepared signs and everything.
Yeah,
that's because they are in every major city, Minneapolis, etc. They're out there doing this. They're set up for it, and they're set up through the Democratic National Committee. The Democrat Party is deeply involved in this.
Yeah,
and this Democracy Partners. As this guy named Scott Fogle, he was in that, and he had his own little Fogle group as one of the other ones. So they just go ahead and they become these shadow partners, these shadow organizations that are used, and they're basically contracted by the Democrat Party. And Mr. Fogle, though, I'm just looking at it today by Lee Stranahan. Scott Fogle, one of the recent subjects in the recent James O'Keefe expose broken exclusively on Breitbart, yay for them, on Monday, has been removed from his job from the liberal advocacy group Americans United for Change.
Yeah, well, I think that I did catch part of that video on a segment I was watching last night. I think it was on Fox News. And the allegation that is being leveled is that these people are the ones behind the firebombing of the RNC location.
It sure does make it real convenient to think that they would be willing to do this, all these other things, and all of a sudden now there's a firebombing. Now I'm not sure if that's going to happen, if that's these guys or not. But it sure does seem rather suspicious that somebody's involved in it. But if it would have been a Democratic headquarters, I guarantee we would have known who's doing it.
We would have known 2 hours afterwards because, believe it or not, the media can find the truth if they really want to.
Oh, heck yeah, if they want to. But, Mr. Fogle's out there. We are contracted directly with the DNC and the campaign. I am contracted to Robert Kramer, who is the husband of Schakowsky. But I answered to the head of special events for the DNC and the head of special events and political for the campaign.
Yeah.
Through Bob Kramer.
Yeah.
We have certain people who do not get to talk to them at all because they want to separate themselves so they can say, but it's too bad for Mr. Kramer because he's on video talking about this stuff.
All right, we're going to have to put that. We will put that video up here right after the show. I'll post it. What else I'm doing? Post editing and putting up the archive for tonight's show. So we'll get that up there.
We do have some clips of that. We do have some audio from it, though.
Okay. Well, we got to go to a break right now. We're about 20 seconds away here. We got to go to a break. When we come back. Let's do that. Because I do want to have a conversation here about this voter fraud thing, because I've got some stuff here, just some stuff I just found today that it really will kind of knock you off your feet if you aren't already aware of it. Okay, so stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Now, just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you, and they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. Okay, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we're talking about voter fraud right now. And I just mentioned before the break, before we kind of went off into a little bit of different conversation, but it does relate to what we're talking about in terms of fraud. I mentioned it, just the most recent Republican to stand up here and kind of disavow Donald Trump's accusations that the election is rigged. And he's not just talking about voter fraud, by the way. He's talking about the media participation. He's talking about the corruption within the government to cover up everything that Hillary is guilty of. And when we talk about it being rigged, we're talking about superdelegates. Where I mean, there's a whole slew of things that are within that context of the election being rigged, but we're talking about the voter fraud aspect of it right now. And lo and behold, the New York Times just published an editorial out there renouncing and scolding and ostracizing Speaker of the House Paul Ryan and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell for not coming out and publicly distancing themselves from Donald Trump and his disenfranchisement and his charges of his what is the word they call it, reckless rhetoric about the election system. And that tells me, when you got the editorial people out there running point, that tells me, yep, they're worried about it. They're worried about somebody actually going, yeah, that might be possible. Let's be honest with each other. Voter fraud is something that has been around with each and every democratic system that's ever been established. The only place you don't have voter fraud is where you have tyrants and dictators. Okay, everything else has always been. Unions have been guilty of stuffing the ballot box. You know, I mean, come on. The election of John Kennedy, for crying out loud, was probably the first real example we had. What about the days of the unions when, they used to send out the hit squads to beat people up coming out of the factories? You'll vote this way, you'll vote that way. So this isn't something that Donald Trump just dreamed up, all on his own at his 3 o'clock in the morning Twitter fits. Okay, this is something that has historically been around forever and will always be a problem in any type of system where the people being governed have some say as to what goes on. So, having said that, Joe was talking about this video. That is James O'Keefe, by the way, the same guy that he's the same guy that did the Planned Parenthood stuff, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's watch how fast the media tries to go after him and talk about how he, has doctored all these videos to make it look like there's actually such a thing as voter fraud. But you said you had an update on that, Joe. So let me turn the con over to you for that.
Yeah, there's been an update to it, and what has happened is J. Christian Adams, president and general counsel of the Public Interest Legal Foundation, filed a complaint with the Federal Elections Commission. I got it right here in front of me here. Dated today, October 18, 2016, Office of General Counsel, Federal Elections Commission in Washington, D.C., in reference to complaint against Hillary for America, the Democratic National Committee, Democracy Partners, Americans United for Change, and other known and unknown individuals and groups to whom it may concern The Public Interest Legal Foundation is a nonprofit educational legal foundation dedicated to protect the right to vote, blah, 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 constitutive framework of American elections, educate the public on the issues of election integrity. This complaint is filed on behalf of the Public Interest Legal Foundation by Joseph A. Vandelhurst, legal counsel of this organization. And the respondents are Hillary for America, the treasurer for Hillary America, Jose Villarreal, Democratic National Committee, Democracy Partners. Mr. Bob Kramer is the strategist for Democracy Partners, Americans United for Change, Scott Fovell, National Field Directors, Americans United for Change, Voices de Frontera Acción, and unknown groups and individuals associated with the respondents, who I just named. The summary of this complaint is based on information and the belief that respondents have engaged in public communications, campaign activity, targeted voter registration drives, and other targeted get-out-the-vote activity under U.S. codes. Just so what? We don't need to read those out. The approval for a Hillary America Campaign Committee and Democratic National Committee in violation of these codes. Complaint information is based on the findings from an investigation conducted by Project Veritas Action, Mr. O'Keefe's organization, and their published reports regarding the same, as well on news sources. It reads, if the commission, upon receiving the complaint, has reason to believe that the person has committed or is about to commit a violation of the Federal Election Commission, the commission shall make an investigation of such allegations. That's why they're going to the Federal Election Commission. Some of the facts and violations. 1, alien registration drives on the information and belief based on the published reports and findings from an investigation by a Project Veritas Action. Several groups, including Americans United for Change and Vote Case de la Frontera Action and other unknown groups, have engaged in voter registration drives and other get-out-the-vote activities during the 2016 election cycle. These activities potentially registered persons who were not citizens. This activity is regulated under our voting laws. Under the same information, the belief that these voter registration drives and other get-out-the-vote activities were coordinated with the DNC and Hillary for America by express communication through agents of Democracy Partners and the Fovell Group. These communications result in the coordination of voter registration activity in violation of our voter laws by all parties involved. Also, because they were coordinated with the political party or campaign, their voter registration activities deliberately targeted demographic groups because they were statistically more likely to support a particular party or candidate in violation of voter laws by all parties involved. They had paid protesters. This is from our video yesterday, John. As reported in several news sources, disruptions, including incidences of violence, have occurred at rallies held by Trump for President campaign. Based on published reports, these disruptions were instigated by professional protesters arranged by third-party groups at the coordination and direction of agents of Democracy Partners and the Fovell Group at the request and approval of agents of the Democratic National Committee and Hillary for America campaign. On information believed based on published reports and findings from an investigation by Project Veritas Action, these disruptions included payment of protesters wherever, quote unquote, wherever Trump and Pence are going to be, unquote. Based on these reports, it appears that all violent disruptions at Trump for President campaign rallies have been executed by paid protesters trained and instructed in their speech and conduct to advocate against Trump and in support of Clinton. On the information based on the same sources, agents of the DNC and HFA, Hillary for America, communicate with third-party groups and the individuals engaged in the activity and content through agents of Democracy Partners and the Fovell Group in order to request and approve communications through a direct chain of communication constituted coordination under federal election laws. Other public communication and campaign activities on information belief based on published reports. All public communications defined in election laws done by the Americans United for Change, including activities described in Exhibit A, were done at or with the direction, approval, suggestion, and or material discussion regarding the time and content, audience of the communications of the DNC and Hillary for America campaign. There's the conclusion. Here's the bottom line on this. Upon information and belief and based on the facts set forth above, respondents Hillary for America, the Democratic National Committee, democracy partners, America's United for Change, and their agents, named and unnamed above, have, each of them, individually and collectively, violated the Federal Election Campaign Act of 1971 as amended and must be held accountable and liable for their unlawful actions. On behalf of the Public Interest Legal Foundation, I hereby request an investigation into whether the respondents identified above or any other related parties have violated federal campaign laws. The information uncovered by this investigation, including this initial complaint, will be used by the Public Interest Legal Foundation to educate the American people about the laws governing our elections and current and potential threats to election integrity. And
wow.
He thanks the commission for their prompt attention to this matter and contact them if they have any questions about it. And that was signed Joseph A. Vanderhulst, legal counsel, Public Interest Legal Foundation.
Wow. Now let's put just a little bit more context to this. It's actually something I was going to talk about yesterday. I want to bring it up right now that I think fits in very well with this. And many of you probably know that the DNC has actually been sued by a group of people, Bernie Sanders supporters. I guess they couldn't get Bernie to participate, but they went ahead and did it anyway. And they have sued the DNC for rigging the primaries. Okay, the use of superdelegates and everything else that they've done. Now, this is all going to fit in before the day's over here because there's other aspects of this thing that fit in with the superdelegates in terms of Hillary Clinton's campaign back in 2008, and it's going to all tie in with this concept of the voter fraud. Anyway, the DNC has responded to the charges in court and basically asked the court to dismiss the charges filed against them because the DNC, even though it is supposed to be representative of what the party represents and what they promise to their constituents, they claim they have no legal obligation to actually hold to that promise.
Yeah, I remember this.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is actually what they're saying, okay? Let's see, I'm looking here at the article here from The Observer. The DNC lawyers argue no liability, neutrality is merely a political promise. The courts have uniformly rejected attempts to litigate on the basis of purported political promises, including statements of principle and intent in the political realm, write the lawyers. These decisions have not always been explicit in their reasoning, but they reflect the long-standing judicial understanding that because they inherently raise serious questions of justifiability and threaten core First Amendment rights of political speech and association, political squabbles are not as easily resolved in federal courts as are some other disputes. So what they're actually saying here is that their argument is that the charters demand that the chair and the DNC staff remain neutral throughout the Democratic primary is a political promise similar to policy proposals made in campaign platforms that aren't fulfilled when in office. The lawyers cited an argument making another court case that voters are free to vote out politicians who break their promises, but the DNC is in no way legally obligated to keep their promises to the people that they represent. That's basically it. Okay, so what they're saying is we made a promise, but we're not legally liable to keep it. It's just a promise. It's just a political promise. And so anything that we do outside of that isn't breaking the law. It's just we determine not to keep the promise. And if people don't like it, then they should vote us out.
We're just lying like a rug, so...
Okay. Hey, we're over our break time here. We got to run a short break. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. All right, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. Once again, I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. One last comment here as we close up this particular part of this segment. We're not closing up the segment itself, but just this particular comment here. The video that has hit the airways here by James O'Keefe out here showing and exposing the workings of the inner workings of the Clinton campaign and probably the Obama campaign. Just changed the name on the stationery, and it doesn't look good if this gets out in the mainstream to any great degree. We don't know if that'll ever happen because nothing ever makes it that far. But here's the point. I was talking about the DNC lawyers arguing in the lawsuit that has been filed against them for basically not possessing neutrality in the primary and deciding somewhere along the line. Now, you'll remember W. Wasserman Schultz came out and told, I believe it was Chris Matthews when he asked her about the superdelegates, that the superdelegates were actually created for the very purpose that they were being used this time around. And that was to keep any upstarts from, gaining any political clout or ground. Now, Bernie Sanders has got some clout, but all he did was just basically expose what the Democratic Party has become. And since it didn't completely implode, Hillary Clinton has adopted his platform, and he's now living in a house for $600K out there in the Lake Shore out there in Vermont somewhere. Now, I read you the argument from the DNC lawyers. It says, just one last couple paragraphs here, just to kind of sum this up here. It says the argument is a neutral DNC and DNC chair are just, their argument is, I'm reading too fast here. Their argument is that a neutral DNC and DNC chair are just political promises, leaving voters susceptible to the deception that the DNC would treat Clinton and Sanders equally. The lawyers argue liability only applies to consumer merchant relationships. The DNC, within its First Amendment rights, the DNC has First Amendment rights, chose to amend its rules to eliminate the provision upon which plaintiff's theory relies, meaning neutrality. Added the DNC lawyers, arguing that because the DNC can amend its rules so its chair and staff don't have to remain neutral or impartial in the Democratic presidential primaries, the court cannot render a ruling on the rule. So he's saying we can change the rules. We're allowed to change the rules. And if we choose to change the rules because we decide we're going to be partial, then the body really has nothing to say about this because we have the rules. Does that sound familiar? Kind of like the RNC rules. Remember we talked about all the stuff they were going to try to do to keep Trump out? The brokered conventions, contested conventions, brokered conventions. Let's change the rules. Let's change the count. They changed the rules to the number of states that you had to take 50% or more of the vote in order to get those delegates. Remember all that stuff? It's the same thing here. It's just the DNC is saying, hey, if we decide we want to be partial, we can do that. We just change the rules, and you really can't say anything about it.
Yeah, it's
it is.
It's kind of amazing how when Trump says it's a rigged system, do you think maybe this is kind of what he's talking about?
Yeah. I mean, certainly we're going to get into the actual voter fraud charges, and like I said, I've got a couple things here I want to share with you about all of a sudden this nonchalant. This is all just another vast right-wing conspiracy. Donald Trump's off his wagon kind of thing. And, it wasn't too long. I heard that, and I said, something in the back of my mind kept popping up. God, I haven't heard. This isn't the first time I've heard this. Nope. And in 2012, there was talk about it. Mitt Romney decided he didn't want to contest all those districts out there in Pennsylvania that had 112% turnout. Or the ones in Iowa where they had maybe it was vice versa. I think it was Iowa had over 100% turnout. Pennsylvania had the districts where everybody voted for Barack Obama. Nobody voted for Mitt Romney.
John, like this, when you have more actual votes than you have the census saying adults, how can that be, John?
Yeah. And there's other aspects of this. There's things coming down the road here. Barack Obama has announced him and Eric Holder are going to head up a committee once he leaves the White House to do what? Focusing on redistricting. That's going to be their thing, redrawing the district lines to make it more feasible. I can tell you from out here in California, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I mean, it works for them. It doesn't work for anybody else. But, all this stuff is coming down the road here in addition to what we already know and what has already happened. And this idea that we talked, I think, a couple of weeks ago about the number of things that were going on. What was it? 5 or 6 districts. What was it? Virginia, someplace like that. Tennessee, someplace like that, where they had found over 1,500 illegals registered to vote, and over 250 of those registered illegals had actually voted more than once. Mm-hmm. That kind of stuff. And so, well, that's just small numbers. That's not a big deal. Well, when you've got elections that are being decided by less than 1 million votes, that's a big deal. And you put that out through, we were talking about 5 or 6 districts. What about a state that has 100 districts? How about Florida? 67 districts in Florida. Okay, Florida's not a small state. It's got a pretty hefty population. You've got as many districts out there as we have out here in California. Okay, our districts are smaller because we needed more Democrats up in the assembly, but this kind of stuff, Marco Rubio's like, well, we got 67 districts, each one conducts their own election. There can't possibly be any fraud, right?
Rubio should just shut his pie hole because there is fraud, and you have to stop it at its source. And when we see these things like this, where you have the Democratic National Committee out there sponsoring voter fraud through the behest of the Hillary Clinton campaign, this stuff is when you can't depend on the integrity of your vote, you have nothing. Then the democracy doesn't exist. Our republic won't exist.
Wasn't it the likes of Marco Rubio and some of the others during the Republican primary that were complaining about how the caucuses were run? Caucuses weren't really representative of the vote. That kind of stuff.
Exactly. Look at the popular vote and all this stuff. It's like, shut up, Marco. These people need to just take their little ball, go home, and shut up. This is like sore losers out there. I mean, maybe they need to find a little safe space so they can be the little person.
Let's send them down to Florida State University. The clown section is over there. Okay.
Yeah, down in Gainesville, there, University of Florida. Yeah, okay, that's great. That's down there in Central Florida. Where all the happy people are.
Yeah, all of those, all students afraid of clown masks and Halloween costumes, please report under the bleachers. Jesus. All right. Hey, look, it's coming up at the top of the hour here. We got to do the Edwards Notebook, and we haven't even really gotten into the voter fraud itself. We're just laying the foundation here for you. But that's what we do. We want to give you enough information, and when we actually start laying things out to you, you have a grasp of where it's all coming from, the context and everything else. So it's time for the Edwards Notebook. We got to pay some bills. Audrey Russo from Real Talk Radio she'll be with us next hour. Stay with us. We got a lot more for you. We'll be right back.
Stripping money from the U.S. military budget to pour into government school systems is simply exacerbating two major problems. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, government schools in America have for years received enough money to ensure that more money is spent per student throughout the Republic than almost any other nation on earth. Yet, overall, America ranks 30th in the world in education quality, proving that spending the most money does not ensure the highest quality. Especially since the actual goal of American government school educators is to indoctrinate American students into being glorified, socially conscious globalists who are more in league with the United Nations, open borders, and climate change dogma than reading, writing, arithmetic, and true American history. In addition, the stripping away of needed funding from what has been the best military in the world has produced massive shortages in needed supplies at every level. Thus, the military is now at best heavily strained in the effort to protect America and maintain stability throughout the world. Hopefully, the scenario of double trouble is soon corrected through a return to providential guidance and an appreciation for America the Beautiful. I'm Ron Edwards.
A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. The Conservative Syndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Hey, all you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
All right, hey, we're back. We're back. Hour 2 of the Conservative Syndicate coming to you live right now, coast to coast and around the world. We're glad to have you with us today. Hey, I want to, I got to make a mention here real quick here. This is our short segment, so I may burn some time here. But another example of what I call the Gruber theorem. All right, this is just the biggest problem we have right now in America. It's not the globalists, it's not the nationalists, it's not the Democrats, it's not the Republicans. It is the electorate. The electorate. I'm constantly amazed, perplexed, and saddened by the level of willful ignorance and outright denial of what's out there in terms of availability of what the truth actually is. The truth is out there. You know, this isn't the X-Files, but the truth is out there. And all you have to do is spend a little bit of time looking for it. You know, I do promotions every single day before we come on the air. I go out on social media and I post basically what, kind of a summary of what we plan on talking about. We don't always go by what I post on a promo because we like to move with whatever is happening at the moment, and we flow where the threads lead us. But I try to keep an idea, okay, I want the public to know if they tune into the show, this is basically what we're going to talk about today, that kind of thing. I posted one out there today on one of our affiliate websites, Red State Radio, which is one of our, actually it was a group out there, Trump for America. Now, this is a Trump supporter. This is somebody who right now we're standing shoulder to shoulder with, maybe not, smiling from ear to ear, but we understand the game here. We understand what's at stake. And so, okay, yeah, we will honor our pledge to support the proper nominee for given what we have to choose from. All right. And lo and behold, I got a Trump supporter out here looking at what I say we're going to talk about, talking about what when you talk about voter fraud, we're going to talk about the charges being leveled against Donald Trump, everything else. And what do I get? I get this comment that we are censoring, you're censoring, you censor conflicting perspectives. You carry water for the establishment rhinos.
Who does?
And have had just about everything wrong since 2014.
Who does?
We do. Right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
Now, bull crap.
Okay. Now, I this is a Trump supporter. All right? And the promo, what does they say? Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid are denouncing Trump's claims of voter fraud while their lapdog colleagues from the GOP are trying to downplay any importance to it. So tonight, we'll take a trip down memory lane and revisit the 2008 primary from the perspective of then-candidate Hillary Clinton. You will be amazed at what they and Obama were claiming and what actually occurred. Now, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I read that, it sounds like, John's going to be after Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama tonight.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, okay. Now, this guy who's supposedly a Trump supporter, unless he's a troll.
I think he's a troll.
You censor conflicting perspectives, carry water for the establishment rhinos. Well, if you're going to accuse me of carrying water for the rhino establishment, don't you think you ought to know who they are before you level something like that at me? Because in my promo here, I'm telling you the GOP lapdogs. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the rhinos, for crying out loud. Do you not know that? Can you not figure that out? And so this guy's going to go to the polls, okay, and he's going to vote for somebody. If he's a troll, he's going to vote for Clinton. If he's a Trump supporter, he's got his head up his ass, for crying out loud. Because I don't know how much plainer we can make it. First of all, we censor nobody. I'll let anybody come on the show and talk about what they want to talk about if they got the balls to come on. All right? So come on, let's get over this,
These people are just wow, John.
Yeah, anyway. Oh, well, anyway. That's my little rant here. Oh, apparently he just responded. He said something about we blocked him for bringing up the 28 redacted pages of 9/11 that, oh, okay, this is one of these guys out there that think that 9/11 was an inside job. That's what it is, okay? But we didn't redact it. This is maybe one of our affiliates or maybe somebody who runs this page. I'm just posting on the freaking page, dude.
Yeah.
It isn't my group, all right?
Oh, yeah, okay, sure. And, okay. Hey, I got a bunch of swampland I need to get rid of,
Yeah, okay. Anyway, we got to go to a break here. When we get back, Audrey Russo will be with us, and we'll carry on our conversation here. Joe's got something nice he wants to share with you also, so stay with us. Right now it's time for Moments of Madness. We'll be right back. Hey, on Moments of Madness. There have been several strategies employed by the elitists, operatives, and media lapdogs to stop Donald Trump. Charges he is of bad temperament, lacks the ability to articulate conservative principles, is unqualified to lead our armed forces or govern the most diverse society on the face of the earth because of his language, racist, sexist, and xenophobic views have fallen short in bringing about his political demise. The elitists that for decades have greased America's political machine undetoured and unopposed find themselves at a loss as to how to eradicate the Trump phenomenon. And that's just the Republicans. On the other side of the political asylum are attempts to shame deplorable Trump supporters by claiming they are proponents of white privilege, while deploring white soccer moms their little girls may learn about promiscuity from someone other than Beyonce and Planned Parenthood, and inciting minority demographics to stand together against the man that has made millions at their expense and cares not about their socioeconomic plight. Though these strategies and tactics have been successful to some degree in hindering Trump's scorched earth trek through the establishment rank and file, the best the elitists and their minions have to show is a single-digit lead in the polls, if the polls are even accurate. However, the disapproval numbers remain virtually even between the angry Donald Trump and the corrupt, politically two-faced, pathological liar Hillary Clinton. So, as the latest all-too-well-rehearsed tactic to discredit their opponent with charges of sexual exploitation and assault with yet another bimbo eruption begin to subside, the establishment has one arrow left in their quiver. That is voter suppression. The left has always benefited from a low voter turnout. Having offered the electorate the lesser of two evils in the last 6 election cycles, many on the right simply do not care enough to make it to the polls. The only new variable this time around is the GOP has joined them in their plot. Trump's accusation the system is rigged has squelched the discontentment that has kept so many from voting for decades or not at all. His charges of disenfranchisement of the silent majority ring true, as we have learned the DNC plotted to make sure Bernie Sanders would not be credited with exposing the Democrat Party as socialists disguised as capitalists. The preservation of the establishment required one of their own be handed the baton. Evidence of voter fraud is beginning to pile up like Hillary's email leaks, proof of collusion with Wall Street and corruption between almost all of the federal government's agencies, including the FBI and CIA. Here's the madness. The brilliance in the left's strategy to suppress voter turnout this time around is by suggesting Donald Trump's assertion of collusion between establishment elites and the media to sequester the silent majority is actually a tactic by Trump to deprive real Americans from exercising their right to vote. This time, they have accomplices. Consider from the outset of the primary season, many operatives and leaders of the GOP have voiced such disdain for Trump, they first said they couldn't honor their pledge to support the Republican nominee. When that didn't rein Trump in, they began to endorse Clinton as a better, more qualified leader. The rift between rhinos and conservatives has been exposed to its core. It isn't about ideology or principles. It's about self-preservation and profit. Another schism has also ruptured the surface of pretend politics. The schism that has existed secretly in the catacombs of the Christian church for decades. Megachurch leaders claiming the evangelical brand have suddenly found self-righteous indignation that a heathen like Donald Trump is being supported by their flocks. They are telling us to vote for Trump is to vote against all Christians claim to be. They even lament not voting for Mitt Romney, who they now say was a man of character, forgetting completely he is also a Mormon, and as we now know, part of the establishment that supports Clinton over his own purported beliefs. Never mind, the only other viable alternative is to vote for Hillary Clinton, who also violates doctrine and values, or a third-party candidate that will result in basically throwing our vote away, serving to put Clinton in the White House. Never mind the fact that had they begun to voice moral concerns back when Hillary's husband was running, we might not be facing judgment from the God they claim to honor and follow. The truth is, real Christians are in a catch-22. As I stated, many Christians abstained for voting for Romney in 2012 due to his religion. I was not one of them. I voted for Romney for the very reasons the Christian elites now laud him. And I remember being criticized by other Christians like myself for placing Romney's values over our faith. Voter suppression in that election gave us another Obama term. Now Christians are being asked once again to ignore stopping the evil of the Obama legacy by refusing to support somebody with virtually no ties to Judeo-Christian beliefs, at least in practice. It's Mitt Romney all over again. So I'm guessing the issue is Christians need to be excluded from voting at all. For many of today's Christian leaders, that's exactly what they want, a return to secular separation of church and state. Unfortunately, this time around, if Trump loses, we won't have to worry about religion and politics because we will be fed to the lions. Let's just hope leaders of the church are first to go. This is John Matthews for Moments of Madness.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. All right, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we have with us our darling of the airways, comes on with us once a week, Audrey Russo over at Real Talk Radio. How are you doing this afternoon, dear?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing most excellent, most excellent. We're having fun here. We're talking about voter fraud, the sudden concern for voter fraud.
Good.
Yeah, what's the concern? We're the ones that are concerned, of course. Is the left? The left won't be concerned because they're doing it. They're the only ones doing it.
Yes, so they're not really concerned. They'd only be concerned if they get caught.
That's it. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole thing with the emails where he was in the last debate pointing out things that she had said, and what was she going to say? You know, oh, it's the Russians. It doesn't matter how they got there. You still said them, right? They're still your emails.
Yes, the content is the problem.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Well, I've been looking here at this. One of the things that came out. Let's start out with that. One of the leaked emails that came out with this WikiLeaks load here is one that was back in, I guess, 2008. We're going all the way back to 2008, and actually in 2015. I'm sorry. And what happened was, I guess back in 2008, the Clinton campaign was actually out there accusing Barack Obama of none other than voter fraud. Right. And in this, I guess back in this email, they were talking about back and forth. John Podesta and one other gentleman here, Michael Driver, I believe, James Lyon, Michael Driver, were attorneys. What they were concerned about, apparently, is that they were going to, in the 2016 election. Okay, the email, let me put it in context, chronological order here. The email was generated in 2015 about the election in 2008 out of concern that the same thing might be coming out of the Sanders camp in 2016. And that was flooding the polls with ineligible voters. That was the charge that was being laid out there by campaign manager at the time, I guess, John Podesta. And the concern was that they needed to maybe stock up on some lawyers to be able to, I guess, bring charges or to file motions or whatever it is they do to try to turn things around like this. But in 2008, I got an article here from Newsmax in 2008 that the Clinton campaign was complaining that Obama's sudden surge in the primaries, and this is the irony, this is poetic justice here, his sudden surge in the superdelegates had put him in a position where he was ahead of Hillary Clinton, and they couldn't figure out why, because the polls were all saying that Hillary Clinton should have been walking away with this thing. And so they were out there filing charges and making all kinds of accusations about the Obama campaign, out there bussing in illegal voters, ineligible voters, into the caucuses and things like that, to sway more of the delegates or make it possible for delegates to fall into the Obama camp. And so, I mean, do you remember any of that back in 2008, Audrey?
Yeah, I do remember it. And they were carrying on because, they're all criminals. I mean, come on. I've never seen a bunch of miscreants like this before. And so they were all cheating on each other. So they were, they wanted a one-up and they couldn't get it because the other one does things the same way. It's the same MO. So here, anywhere you see they found voter fraud in the country, who is it? It's not Republicans, is it?
Yeah.
Not at all.
What it does is it fits in that narrative of theirs that if we're talking about voter fraud, then we're also talking about voter disenfranchisement. See, we're using the voter fraud narrative to eliminate and hinder and keep legitimate voters from showing up at the polls. The guys that can't afford to get ID.
Right. Can't afford. Excuse me. States give it away for free. It's a lie. It's a lie. The whole thing. See, if I want to go get cold medication, okay, a pseudoephedrine, I have to show them ID. They have to check. It's like a background check. That's okay. See, all of a sudden, if whether you're black or white, it doesn't seem to matter. But when it comes to voting, all of a sudden, it matters. Come on.
Yeah.
What do we? We're not that. Come on.
Are you still talking, Audrey?
Yeah, she was.
Okay, because your window's lit up in front of me, but I'm not hearing anything. I was wondering if we'd lost contact there.
Oh, you can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Well, I'm sitting here on my side of the thing here, watching the windows light up as each person talks. Your window's lit up right now, but you're not talking, so it just kind of threw me off here.
Probably breathing. Go ahead.
Well, here's something I thought was kind of interesting. I found this article out here back in 2014, and this was by the Heritage Foundation. They found election fraud in the 2008 Indiana presidential campaign, and the article is about the fact that Barack Obama actually got on the ballot in Indiana illegally, and had he not been allowed to get on the ballot, the results might have been completely different in terms of whether we had our first half-white president or our first female president. And this has really got me. I want to read this paragraph, and I'll get your comment here on it, Audrey. He says, former Board of Voter Registration worker and Democratic Party volunteer Lucas Burkett revealed the details of the fraud. They're talking about fraud here. That there were meetings at which several people explicitly agreed to forge petitions, and that his job was to forge petitions for candidate Barack Obama. Furthermore, Board of Voter Registration worker Beverly Shelton was assigned to forge petitions for candidate Hillary Clinton, while former County Board of Voter Registration worker Dustin Blythe was assigned to forge petitions for candidate John Edwards. John Edwards dropped out of the race at the end of January 2008, and at that time, Burkett had a change of conscience and refused to participate further in the scheme. Consequently, Morgan instructed Blythe to forge signatures on the remaining Obama petitions. So apparently, they were forging petitions for all three candidates back in 2008. Now, I'm sitting there like, well, what would that serve? What purpose did that serve? I mean, was it important to have all three candidates on the ticket? Out there in the primary, but the point, and it goes beyond that. Now I was reading about on the Republican side how they kept Newt Gingrich off the ballot in Virginia. By the fact of they went out and found fraudulent signatures on a petition and dropped him below the required number, and so he wasn't allowed to be put on the ballot. And they're saying subsequently he kind of died out. He at that point in 2008, remember, he had won a couple of the states and he was going strong. And then he got in Virginia, and they found that out of the 10,000, they found like 1,500 fraudulent signatures.
Right.
So on the Republican side, they were doing their job. They were checking the signatures. On the Democrat side, they were just bussing them in.
Yeah, it's incredible. I don't know. That's a mess. But they're already finding voter fraud. They're already finding it. And again, where is it? What side is it? It's not our side.
Yeah, and is that not the problem we're facing here? This is the deal. When you've got, in a matter of 48 hours, you've got the leaders of the political parties out there. On the left, they got Nancy Pelosi, they got Harry Reid, you got Barack Obama out there interrupting a press conference that's supposed to be taking place with some Italian wahoo, and and he's taking time to address Donald Trump's charges of allegations about voter fraud. So when you got the bigwigs lining up, and then you got the New York Times out there saying, how come Paul Ryan isn't denouncing? He's not separating himself. This is David Duke from the KKK all over again. Why is he not separating and disavowing? Why isn't Mitch McConnell doing something about this? You know, when they get that boisterous, they are scared to death that something is about to be exposed that they don't want anybody to know about.
Yeah. This is a criminal syndicate, the Democrat Party, and they will, they know that they're committing voter fraud. They know this. And so they'll say, yeah, we're concerned about voter fraud. Right? Tell me they don't do that.
Yeah. The louder the noise, the more guilty they are. That's the way I've learned to gauge this stuff.
Yeah. I got to say with the revelations, and I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but I two things are glaring about what Hillary had said about blacks. She called them mindless shopping carts incapable of success, and she called Muslims sand and the N-word. Is nobody going out of their mind about this? This is amazing what she did.
When did this take place? Was that just recently, or was this during 2008?
That was in the last dump of emails. They have, if you go to WikiLeaks, they have it right there, and it's all highlighted.
Oh yeah. Well, they got the needy Latinos and the Confederacy. Still talking about the Confederacy. Here they. Okay, go ahead.
No, that's okay. And they also insulted Catholics and evangelical Christians.
Yeah, and you know what is so audaciously stupid about all this is that the Catholics, the Jews, and those in the minority communities won't even take this into account. But we're still worried about what Donald Trump said to a woman 11 years ago.
The whole thing is it's ridiculous. I mean, and he took control of the last debate. He will take control tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, and I don't know. It is truly gotten to a point where you just have to wonder. What is it? Ron White once said, "You can't fix stupid."
Exactly.
One of the things I'm hearing, I've been able to listen to Rush Limbaugh more than I normally do because I've been on the road a lot lately, and he just happens to be on when I'm out driving around. And I like his phrase. I got to coin his phrase here. It's a special kind of stupid.
It is.
It is amazing. But, this whole voter fraud thing actually worked both ways because David Plouth, who at that time was very involved with Barack Obama back in 2008, was reporting voter irregularities in Nevada. And he was complaining that the Clinton campaign was trying to confuse voters and confusing caucus members and everything else. So they were back and forth on this thing. You're committing fraud. No, you're committing fraud. That kind of thing. It's amazing.
Guys, can you really confuse Democrat voters? Come on. There's not enough intelligence there.
Well, you got to. The only thing you can really say to a Democrat voter these days is, "What are you thinking? What or are you thinking?" That's not what are you thinking. It's are you thinking? I mean, how can you look at? How can you weigh this thing out? Okay, yeah, we got a flawed candidate on this side. We got one over here, but you got one that okay, maybe doesn't know how to control his mouth. And we were talking at the beginning of the show. I'm sure Donald Trump has had his share of groupies, don't you think?
Well, sure. Being, a celebrity, yeah, of course he has. I'm sure.
Sure he is. But it isn't Amy. This is not Amy Schumer, though. I can tell you that.
I can't stand there. Yeah, remember, first of all, I can't stand her. Second of all, she's a relative of Chuck Schumer. So, do I have to say anything else? Schmucky Schumer. Schmucky. I can't stand the guy.
Yeah.
So, ew.
Ew. Ew.
Yeah, and I get a particular kick out of the fact that the guy they've chosen to portray Donald Trump on Saturday Night Live is Alec Baldwin. Because I just think about the fact that Alec Baldwin was the center of the movie. Did you ever see the movie Team America?
No.
You got to watch that movie sometime. It's one of those marionette movies. They use puppets, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And the whole movie revolves around the fact that Alec Baldwin is the best movie star ever. Oh, it is something. They find this guy out in the acting ranks someplace who reminds them of Alec Baldwin. So they're going to hire him to go in and portray a jihadist and infiltrate the jihadist movement over in the Middle East. It is hilarious. Anyway, guys, we got to take a quick break here. We've got Audrey Russo with us from Real Talk Radio, and I'll try to do my best when we get back not to keep hogging the airtime here because I want to get her views on a lot of stuff. I'm just fired up right now. I'm just totally wired right now, and it's not artificially produced. All right, so we'll be right back, guys. Stay with us right here at the Conservative
Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call. But I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a four-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Now, just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you. And they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. All right, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we have Audrey Russo from Real Talk Radio with us today doing her weekly segment. Audrey does her show on Thursdays, actually interviews all during the week, and then does a show on Thursday. And I believe, what is that, 6 o'clock? I always forget the time. 6 o'clock out there on the East Coast?
No, actually, it's 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock out on the East Coast. Okay. Well, that's 6 o'clock Central Time. I'm close. All right. 5 o'clock out here on the left coast here. And you can get her show. Go to audreyrusso.com. Or, better yet, do us a double favor. Go to our website, the Conservative Syndicate. Look down on our contributor section, and we have a link straight to her show, so you can do us both a favor and help us move up those search engines by clicking on both of them. Okay, that's audreyrusso.com. Audrey, back to the, let's talk a little bit different here about what's going on with the Trump phenomenon. Joe, you had something you wanted to offer here about Trump draining the swamp.
Yeah, Trump was out the other day and he said, hey, it's time to drain the swamp. And then he had a 5-point plan to do so, which I think would scare the crap out of the establishment in D.C. on all sides of the political aisle.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I think it would scare him.
All right, Joe. So why don't you cue that up and play that? We'll get Audrey's take on that when we get finished with it.
All righty, here comes Mr. Trump now.
Why I'm proposing a package of ethics reforms to make our government honest once again. When Bill Clinton, who was right about Obamacare 2 weeks ago, by the way, he said it's crazy, came into office, he signed an executive order saying if you work for the White House or a federal agency, you can't lobby the government for 5 years after you leave. But then President Clinton did what the Clintons always do. He rigged the system on his way out, right? Clinton lifted the executive order, so Clinton cronies like John Podesta could start raking in cash. So here's what we as a group are announcing tonight. First, I'm going to reinstitute a 5-year ban on all executive branch officials lobbying the government for 5 years after they leave government service. I'm going to ask Congress to pass this ban into law so that it cannot be lifted by executive order, right? Second, I'm going to ask Congress to institute its own 5-year ban on lobbying by former members of Congress and their staffs. It's enough. Third, I'm going to expand the definition of lobbyists so we close all the loopholes that former government officials use by labeling themselves consultants, advisors, all of these different things, and they get away with murder. Not going to happen. Fourth, I'm going to issue a lifetime ban against senior executive branch officials lobbying on behalf of a foreign government. And fifth, I'm going to ask Congress to pass a campaign finance reform that prevents registered foreign lobbyists from raising money in American elections and politics.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. He has Paul Ryan's name all over that.
I love it. He's doing stick it to him, and I'm really happy about that because he's probably the most loathed speaker. I mean, Boehner, there were times you loved Boehner, times you wanted to punch him right in the face, I swear. But he wasn't loathed like this guy. This guy's, they hate him. I'm one of they. Okay.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Good reason. And yes, John's right. It will kill Boehner. So, yeah, it will drain the swamp. These people will have to actually go somewhere else and maybe find some gainful employment that the American taxpayer is not going to have to pay for. And, gee, wouldn't it be just awesome to have these people try to earn a living doing something else?
Yeah, working like the rest of us? Oh, my gosh. How dare
I never work like the rest of us, but just work, period.
Period. Right? I think it's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. These people get themselves up on the hill. It's really dung hill now. And they vote themselves raises, and they work how many, a month, a year? I have never seen people like this. Granted, the Republicans didn't vote for Obamacare, but they funded it. We all know that, okay? But they are excluded from it. I'm appalled. Isn't anybody else appalled here?
I'm not appalled. I'm pissed off.
Well, this is why we have to get this guy in there because they are terrified on both sides of the aisle, the establishment, that this guy is going to change everything. Because remember something, this is another thing that stands out about him. He has nothing to gain. Nothing to gain. They have everything to gain off the people.
Well, here's the $64 question. The $64 question, and this is kind of the question I have about Trump across the board. Should he get elected? And I hope he does.
Yes.
How is he going to get Congress to go along with this?
He's a schmoozer. If you're in New York, and a lot of times he sounds well, he's a New Yorker, okay, and he's a very good businessman. He'll schmooze his way. Believe me.
Well, I see. I'm wondering. To me, there's one of two ways of doing this. He continues. What he has to do is he has to do to the Republican Party what the Democrats have been doing to the Republican Party, and that is shaming them into doing what he wants. Because that's what the Democrats have been doing to the Republican Party ever since Barack Obama got elected. We just shame him. You're a bigot. You're a racist. You're a sexist. You're something. Okay. I think he's got a real simple label out there. You're an idiot. That's how I would. You guys are idiots. You're corrupt. You're crooked. You're everything that the public does not like. And that he could do that. And I don't know. They might cave to some degree, but I'm pretty convinced that the people pulling the strings on the establishment side are not going to be real cordial when it comes to Donald Trump. I don't know how they're going to try to obstruct him, but I don't think they're just going to go along with him no matter what he does because there's too much at stake. He is going to expose him to a degree they've never been exposed before, and that's.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they don't want that. They're terrified of it. I mean, Ryan and his peeps are terrified of being exposed, what they're doing on there. And I hope that someone out there is digging up some stuff on Ryan, because he takes this self-righteous stand about something that was an off-mic thing that Trump did 11 years ago. And based on that, he just can't. He's not going to go out on the stump for him. And I'm going, really? Let's take a look at your background before you get so pious.
Absolutely. I'm really I'm wondering if Trump will try to bring this up tomorrow night during the debate. What do you think, Audrey?
Bring what up?
This 5-point step plan that he just put out there. I mean, he's out here floating in front of the public right now. I mean, it kind of makes me wonder if he'll try to interject it somewhere in the conversation tomorrow.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will. That's just a guess. I think it's better on the campaign trail. I wouldn't use it in the debate because this is something between him and the people.
Right.
Not him and the Hag.
Right.
Well, let's understand something. Let's understand something here. If Trump gets elected, he gets put into office, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be by an overwhelming margin. It's not even going to be close if it does happen the Trump way, because people are going to vote for him. It's not going to be close if Trump gets in. No, Hillary gets in. It's going to be by hook or crook and cheating. Okay, so
yeah.
But so here's the other thing. So you stand against the guy at your own peril, then, because you have quote unquote the American people behind him.
Yes.
And so go ahead and stand against him and see how that works out for you.
Well, see, and this is the stupidity of arrogance, okay, of the elitists on our side. And those, because there are those in the Republican Party that are calling him a racist. Not supporting him. I'm thinking, you are really an uber schmuck that you're doing that. Do you realize that people see what you're doing?
You're giving schmucks a bad name by you.
It's true. But think about this. You're insulting us. You can the Democrat Party. I'll be the president for all who deplorables, irredeemables. Let me see, sand blanks. Mindless shopping carts. So which ones? I'm sorry. Is that everybody? I don't know if I covered everyone. 50%, 20.
Today, Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion.
She wants to be our champion.
I'm going to hurl now, okay? So she wants to be our champion. But like I said, which deplorable basket is she talking about right now?
Use that basket to hurl in. Yes, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. But think about this. Now, she's been saying these things. Then you have the buttheads on our side that are saying what? They're saying, oh, he's a racist, he's this. And I'm thinking, we're supporting him, so you're insulting us, all right? Mm-hmm. We're going to remember it. Hey, look, guess what? We remembered it when they pulled what they did in the NFL with Kaepernick, and guess what? They're in the tank right now.
Yep.
And that's because, guess what? America finally figured out we have the power of the purse.
Yeah, check this out. That the bastion of conservative news cast on television, Fox's ratings are plummeting like it's an airliner in a nosedive.
I'm sorry, but yeah, good for them, because and especially with Megyn Kelly. She's a liberal. I can't stand her guts, and I'm thinking to myself, well, she's been riding this for a long time, and then she's starting to go down. So I mean, this is the way it is. The people finally realize, hey, it is we the people. We actually do have the power, and people are tired of being called. We're called racist. We're called Islamophobes. Look at Miami did. And I'm waiting for the Cubans to do something about this, because there's a large Cuban population. They know what communism is like. They put, I don't know if you guys know, they put a law in that's condemning making Islamophobia illegal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've been making fun of Christians in this country, and they still, to this day, Hollywood is constantly insulting Christians. Okay.
Well,
that's
exactly,
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay, right? But if I question Islam and they get insulted because I'm questioning Islam, that's against the law. That's communist.
Yeah. I just, it's really kind of fascinating, because if the Muslims ever come to a point where they can take everything over, the first thing they're going to do is go after Hollywood, because that's where all the Jews are at.
I'll be laughing my face off. I will, because that's how stupid they are. The arrogance is always stupid. And that's how arrogant and that's how stupid they are, because they don't realize that they're supporting someone that when they get strong enough, because they didn't bother to read the Quran, they didn't bother to find out what this ideology is. And they didn't bother to find out that everything they do, Muslims will destroy.
Yeah, well, you're gonna find out exactly how Jewish Hollywood really is if it comes down that
I'm telling you, watch what happens. Watch what happens. They don't understand Islam. Just because they're quiet right now and they're pretending to be meek, it's because they're not strong enough in number. And thank God they never will be in this country. Because guess what? Guess what we own?
Yeah. We got to take a quick break here. This is our short break. We'll be right back with Audrey Russo from Real Talk Radio. Stay with us. There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. The Conservative Syndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. All right, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. Once again, just to quickly remind you, visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, pick up this archive, any of our archives, find out what you want to know about the show, why we do what we do, and who's involved. One of those people is Audrey Russo, who's with us right now from Real Talk Radio. I wanted to ask you, Audrey, I'm sitting here thinking Hillary, I almost called you Hillary.
Oh my gosh.
Almost. Yeah, there's some sexual abuse right there. All right. All right. Out of these emails, one of the ones that I think is sticking out the most, and I'm hoping Trump continues to capitalize on, is the revelation that Hillary has basically two stances that she takes when she's in front of her contributors and donors and business people. She's on their side, and when she's talking to the public, she's on their side. And she has admitted that she needs Wall Street for money. She thinks that they do job better than everybody else because they are on Wall Street and this, that, and the other. And it seemed to be the one email out of these leaks that, in my opinion, has been getting the most attention. And I'm wondering, do you think Donald Trump needs to keep hammering on this? You mentioned he brought it up last debate. He did. Should he keep hammering on this?
Actually, they brought it up. That was one of the questions, and he hammered it a bit. But I don't think it has as much traction as the others because the others were insulting the voters.
Yeah.
And I think you really need to, that's great fodder, and I would use that. And he needs to go back to, this is something that he said about her apologizing for how she terrorized those women, okay? He abused them, and she terrorized them.
Yep.
She needs to apologize to them publicly because it was public humiliation that they received, and he should demand, you need to do that. You're a champion for women. Terrorize those women. Apologize to them.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
And just keep bringing it up every chance he gets, right?
I'm sorry?
Just keep bringing it up every chance he gets?
Any way you could slip it in there, make sure you do, because he did this to the women, and she terrorized them after that. I mean, Kathleen's a friend of mine. I know what she did. And we heard what Juanita Broderick, and by the way, I'm going to have 3 of those ladies on the show just before the election.
Outstanding.
Says we have to get one last hammer into the face of that hag, and I want people to share it as much as possible because it's their testimony against her.
Oh,
you know?
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Which women are these?
I can't say, but it's 3 of the women.
Okay, so I guess we have to listen to find out.
That would be great. Yes.
All the T's. Yes, very good.
All right, so if you really want to know what's going on here, you got to listen to her show, all right? AudreyRusso.com. Otherwise, you're not going to know.
Well, go to your website first, and then click the link to my website.
Yeah,
this way we both get it.
All right. Well, you're not going to hear it on Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly only brings on the other women. I really think Megyn Kelly is Rachel Maddow in drag.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, she took umbrage at what he said, and I thought, you're a filth bucket. I mean, we didn't hear your interview with Stern. Come on, and then for Maxim magazine, yeah, that was real ladylike. Yeah,
yeah,
come on.
Yeah.
She takes umbrage. She's offended. Yeah. She's also mentally ill. Yeah.
Well, you know things are taking a turn in a different direction. I just read today, just off the top of my head here, I was just, as you were talking, I just thought of this. You know that Playboy no longer prints nudes in their magazine?
Yes.
That means you actually have to read the articles?
Yeah, my circulation is down.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, okay. All right. I just thought a little jocularity there. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, call a friend after 4 hours. No, a doctor after 4 hours. That's right.
Well, I haven't read a Playboy since I was 18 years old, and I just saw it today in the news that I guess somebody was posing in it. There was supposed to be some big public figure, not posing. They're just being in the magazine, and they were talking about that. Yeah, they don't print nudes anymore. And I went, oh wow, okay. Well, why would you buy the magazine?
The outstanding articles and writers they have there.
All right. Hey, we're out of time, Audrey. I do want to give you a chance to plug your show, though. I guess we have you have a bunch of secret guests coming on.
Well, not this week. Next week. Not next week. Excuse me. And is it next week? No. In a couple of weeks is that show. That's the last show before the election. No. This week we have theater critic Lauren Yarger. If you want to know what's going on, on Broadway, and off Broadway and regional, she's the go-to person. And Alan West will be with us, and Colonel Patrick Murray as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, outstanding. That's on Thursday at 8 o'clock on the East Coast. That'd be 5 o'clock out here in the Pacific. And you're in some zone in between. The only 2 zones that matter, East Coast, West Coast. If you're in the middle, okay, so be it.
Hey, mister, I take offense to that. And that's 30 o'clock in Paris.
It's 30. Yeah, right.
Okay. All right, and you can find
so much,
Audrey
guys.
at AudreyRusso.com. And again, Audrey, I so appreciate having you on here. You lighten up the week for us. You really do.
Thank you. It's always a blast, guys. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Okay, guys. We're coming up on the end of the show here. And I want to...
hey, John.
Any closing comments here, Joe?
Yeah, Audrey asked a question. What is it different what do we own here that would make the Islamists scared of us? And I'm gonna pull out my Joe Bidenism. It's a 3-letter word called guns.
Yeah, that'll work. that'll stop somebody that wants to behead you in a New York minute.
Yeah, but that's how Biden would do it. It's a 3-letter word called guns.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Just you got to go a little Indiana Jones here. You know.
Well, yeah, go ahead and bring out your little sword.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, look, we are coming up today. We got about 45 seconds left, Joe. You got anything you want to close the show out with today?
Well, I just think it was really great to have Audrey on, and she's going to have some great guests on. And as she said, Hillary terrorized these women. We got the debate tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think Donald Trump has to come out and have and do not do the Mitt Romney and kick her little butt.
Yeah. No holds barred here. Yeah. This has got to be just out and out war. It has to be.
Remember, she's evil, and just go for her throat and rip it out.
Yeah. So he's got to tell everybody about the deplorables, the rednecks, the colored people, everything out there. The Jews, the Catholics. He's got to let everybody know. All right, guys. We'll be back on the air tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit about what we expect on the debate tomorrow, and cover some other stuff that we're covering all during the week. We'll talk a little bit more about the emails. God bless you all. Visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hako, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.